As women, we know how we feel physically, mentally, and emotionally when we gain weight and want to lose it. Can a man's experience inspire us? This is why I have an amazing guest today, Drewbie Wilson, the founder of Cold Diamond Leads. Welcome to Wellness All Seasons with Mina, and thank you so much for accepting to be on my show.
Yeah, thank you for the blessing and the opportunity, Mina. It's really for me, I love the openness to you and your community to bring me in. I know you kind of focus more with women, but I believe not only will I try to bring as much value and insight to the conversation as I can, I will also share some insights about my wife and our journey together in the weight loss because it's not just me who's been on this journey. My wife and I have had been very blessed to go on this together. And so I think there will be some things that I can share from both sides of it that will bring some value to the listener today.
It's amazing. That's why choose to have you because especially when we are sometimes when we are in a couple we can gain weight easily because we change our environment, our way of living, and most of the time women as well before being in couple they are slim, etc., and after some years after marriage they gain weight. So today I want you to share your experience and how you have been together supportive to each other to get out of to lose weight and to get out of this struggle.
Thank you, Mina. And again, I appreciate the opportunity. And for the listener that's here with us today, thank you for spending a little bit of your time.
Yeah.
Time is the most valuable asset you have. You can't, you can trade money for time to go do other things that you want to do, but ultimately, we know we can't get it back, can't win it in a poker tournament, and you're not going to get a box full of it on your birthday, unfortunately. It'd be nice, but that's not how it works. And so, for me, when I look back over my time on Earth, I grew up the husky kid. I was always overweight. When I was in middle school, I had to buy adult pants from the adult section and then hem them up because I was wide and short. And I've always had those confidence issues about my weight and my appearance and my looks. And I know that's something that all individuals go through in their own way. And what I'm here to really first and foremost say is that at one point, I weighed 315 pounds at the biggest I ever was. I looked at the scale and I felt miserable. And along the way, on my journey, I've lost 100 pounds, put
Uh-oh.
it all back on, and then lost it again and got all the way down to 183 pounds, which is what the Society of Medicine says is my normal weight. And I'm going to be honest with you, at 183 pounds, I was miserable too. I
Mm.
didn't like the way I looked. I wasn't comfortable. I didn't feel right. And so I really want to preface this entire conversation with success is a perspective.
Mm.
Body dysmorphia is a real thing. It doesn't matter if you're big and you want to be small. If you're small and you want to be big, you're always going to be chasing this version of yourself. And I want you to understand that it's very important that you get to choose what success in your physical, mental, spiritual well-being means. And we're all kind of stuck because social media will really portray what perfect is or what the ideal body type is. And that may be for certain individuals, but it's you who gets to choose what's perfect for you. And so, we can get into it deep, but I just really want to make sure you guys understand that that's the most important part of this is that you choose what your happiness is.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And the problem with weight sometimes it's health problems. When we gain a lot of weight, we can start to suffer from some health problems. Is it
Hmm.
your case, or you wanted just to lose weight to be?
No,
Uh,
100%. So, again, growing up, I was always a hefty guy.
mm,
When I turned 18, I got a job working third shift. So I went into the building at like 11:30, 11:45 at night, and I didn't finish my shift until about 8 o'clock the next day. And so
um,
I ate a lot of fast food. I drank a ton of caffeine. I didn't sleep well. And if you've ever done any of those things in congression, and I'm sure if you're listening to this, you've probably at some point experienced that, or may even right now be experiencing that season of life where you're convenience eating. You're doing things because you aren't making the time to be more intentional with those decisions. And I'm not faulting you because listen, there's certain things in life that have to be done, non-negotiables. And so what we tend to do is we put our self last on the list. We put all of the other things as a priority. And unfortunately, I mean, I don't know if you've ever been on an airplane, but the first thing they tell you when you get on that airplane is if there's an emergency, you have to put your own oxygen mask on first. That's exactly right. Because if you don't, you actually become a burden to everyone around you. And isn't it interesting, though, that as humans, we put ourselves last and then expect everyone else to understand when we get burnt out or when we're unhappy or when we snap on someone because we don't feel good. And that was a big mindset shift for me over time, was that for me to be a great person, leader, example, husband, father, whatever title, I have to make sure that I'm operating at peak performance so that I can give everyone around me the peak performance they deserve.
Amazing. And what was the wake-up call for you to think that it's time to lose weight?
Yeah, so this is it's gonna get a little emotional. So if I tug on a heartstring, there's a reason. But there was really two big ones that hit me. One, when I was on my journey, I at 315 pounds decided like I'm unhealthy, I don't sleep well, I don't want to be this person. And also, I'm not getting the attention from the people that I desire, right? I wasn't getting the attention from the ladies and all that. And as a man, we have desires. As women, you have desires. And so it's part of like if you don't feel confident, guess what? You don't give off the energy of confidence. And that's very, very important in these sorts of things. And so I went on the journey. I started losing the weight. I stopped drinking soda. I stopped eating fast food and really just went on the mentality of if I burn more calories than I'm taking in, I will lose weight. It's just a very basic math to weight loss. And it's not always perfect, but if you burn more calories than you take in, it will start coming off. And I did that for a long time. And I got down to like 215 pounds. And I was very proud of myself. And I had that confidence and that energy. And I met a beautiful young lady who said, "Hey, I kind of like you. You're a little different, but I kind of like you. Let's hang out together. Let's spend some time." And so we did. And as most times happen when you get into a relationship and you get comfortable, you stop putting in the work and you stop doing the things that got you to that situation. And so we started going out to eat more. We had a few extra cocktails and then a dessert and then maybe a snack on the way home. This is what happens in
Most of
these
the
relationships. Yes, absolutely. And so I went on this journey. We spent time together and then she got pregnant and I don't know if you've ever had to deal with the sympathy weight, but it is a real thing. I will say, ladies, I understand because my wife loves Thanksgiving turkey dinner. And we ate Thanksgiving turkey dinner every day for like 4 straight weeks. And I put the weight back on. I went from probably 215 pounds to 285 pounds when my son was born. And in that first 6 months, I understand there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of things that are going on. And at one point, my beautiful wife came to me and she's like, "Listen, babe, I love you. But all of this that's going on right now, I'm not in love with."
She did not
And that,
gain weight?
oh, she gained the weight too, but it's understood she had a baby.
Ah,
Like,
yeah.
I
Women.
can't fault her for having baby weight. Like that's all part of it. And she wasn't saying that like she didn't love me, but she was saying that she didn't love the decisions I was making.
Mm.
And that's a big part of the journey for the weight loss is like, A, you're making decisions based on the situation that you're in. And a lot of the times for me, like I said, from the emotional standpoint of like, well, I'm comfortable, I'm happy, we're happy. This is kind of what happens. And so that was a big one for me to really hit and go, well, shoot, like my wife is beautiful and I certainly don't want to lose her. So, like, what am I going to do to make sure that she has that attraction again? And even further, as I was on that journey and I started to thinking about, like, okay, well, where am I spending my time and why am I spending it on things that aren't getting me the result that I want, which is my wife to love me and desire me and all of the things that go along with that. And I had another mentor and a friend, God love him, who came to me and he says, "Hey, listen, Drew, I really appreciate you're working hard. You know, you're trying to make it so that your wife doesn't have to work and you're doing all of these things. But I have to ask you something. How would it feel if, boom, all of a sudden you're up in heaven and you're looking down and there's some other jerk in bed with your wife in your home, your son's in the other room upset because you're not around
Mm.
because you had a heart attack because you didn't make the time to take care of yourself in this journey."
It's tough to think of.
That it was a gut punch. It hurt. I don't think that's heaven, honestly. Like that doesn't sound like a great eternity having to watch that forever. And so those were the realizations to me that like at the end of the day, it is the choices that I'm making, the actions that I'm taking that are getting me the result. And when I got down and dirty with it and I looked at where I was spending my time, what I was spending it on, and who I was spending it with, it started to become very clear what needed to change in order to be the person that I know I was capable of being, which even now is a daily thing. Every day I'm looking to just
Mm.
get a little bit better because it's forever. It's not like it just snap and you're perfect. You have to work for it every single day.
Exactly, because it's something, it's a lifestyle. And I'm asking about your wife because she was cooking for you, for the family. So, are you, did you ask her to change the nutrition at home, or did
I
you
mean,
continue to eat the same thing?
she cooked sometimes, I cooked sometimes, but again, a lot of the time it was just us convenience eating. Because it
Mm,
was like, okay, we both work a full day and we want to go and enjoy our time together. And so we sacrificed the nutrition in lieu of, all right, well, we're just gonna stop and grab McDonald's or we're just gonna get, you know, a meal or we're gonna go out to eat because if our love language is quality time, well, let's spend that quality time together, not cooking and cleaning and
mm,
fighting over all the mess. I mean, you know, you get too many chefs in the kitchen, it gets a little ugly. So again, for us, it was really just that how are we spending our time and are we spending it in a way that's going to lead us to the result that we want? And I mean, my wife, she has crushed it in her journey. She's done 75 hard with me. She's gone on all these processes, but I couldn't have done what I did on my journey
without her.
without that support.
Mm,
And that's the one thing I'll tell you that is if you're listening to this and you do have a spouse or someone in your life that, you know, you're on this journey with, have that conversation.
mm.
Open up to them and explain, this is what I want, this is where I want to go, and I'd like you to be a part of that journey. Because the worst thing I ever did was start the journey without my wife and create that gap. You know, if you start running a race and you start on Monday and she doesn't start until Friday, there's a distance and there's not that connection. So I would encourage you have that conversation sooner than later because if you want to make a change, it's likely they also want to take that journey with you.
Yeah, and I think she loves you. That's why she choose to communicate about the topic, because most of the time people don't communicate, and maybe they commit to quit or to separate the person without telling the truth why they are leaving. So it's great to have to have her supportive and helping you in this journey to live better and to keep your couple and your
I'm a
family.
lucky man. I tell you what, me and I am very, very blessed. And every day when I wake up, that's one of the first things I do is I reach over and I grab her butt and I go, "Whoo, thank God she's still here." That is one thing I am grateful for every single morning. And that was a big part of my journey too, is when I was feeling, you know, at my biggest and I wasn't happy and I wasn't living the life that I knew I wanted to live. The first thing that I did was make a decision to say, you know what I'm going to do? Every morning I'm going to wake up and I'm going to go and walk. That's
Mm.
it. I'm going to just wake up and go walk. And I'm going to use that time to think. I'm going to use it to meditate. And ultimately, my goal was to walk 5K a day, which is
Wow.
3.23 miles.
Mm.
And so it would take me about 60 minutes to go and walk the neighborhood loop And in that 60 minutes, I was able to do a lot of deep self-reflection. I was able to work through a lot of personal issues. And I started listening to podcasts like this. I started finding that outside motivation and inspiration. And it led me on a journey that's allowed me to do some amazing things. I mean, I've ridden my bike 217 miles in one day. I've run a marathon. I've done all kinds of these crazy fitness challenges
Amazing.
because I decided at one point when I was 290 pounds and unhappy and miserable with myself that I was just going to make the decision to do the hard thing first every day. Because once it was done, and I didn't have to think about it anymore.
I love it. And what I loved the most is I read about you, and you did this experience without drugs. And I know that most of people are looking for quick fix. And you are saying that you start by walking and you did not use drugs to lose weight. Can you tell us more about it to inspire the listeners who are suffering, they have this challenge with weight and they are looking for something to help them. So for you, it was not with drugs. You can share with us.
No, I appreciate that. And I will preface this with I am not a doctor. And if you're
Yeah.
going to take this journey, I 100% recommend you consulting with someone who knows more than me. I may have stayed at a Holiday Inn Express one time, but that does not qualify me to be a doctor. And so, uh, for me, the thing about the quick fix is it doesn't last. Okay,
No.
cool. I can put a band-aid on a wound, but if I don't ever heal the wound from the inside, then it's not going to ever heal. It's just, I'd have to just keep putting more band-aids on it. And the issue with drugs is that they're temporary, they work for a season. And what happens at the end of that season? Well, if you haven't consciously made the choices and the changes and developed the discipline and the willpower to say no, then you're not going to maintain that result. And
Mm.
that applies not just in your physical, but in every area, right? Like and especially when it comes to the drugs, is like if you take them and if you need them, 100% use them as that like catalyst to get going, right? It's like that cup of coffee in the morning. You need that little extra boost to get started, but if you drink coffee all day, you realize the effects start to wear off. They're not as powerful. So you either have to take more of that drug or you get to a point where it's not going to work because more would literally kill you. And that's why I think it's so important that if you're going to take this journey, you have to develop something that is sustainable for a lifetime, a lifestyle, not just for a season, because you're going to watch this over the next few years. And again, I'm not a medical expert, but all the folks who have gotten on these uh,
Loss
different
product.
prescriptions, right? These different prescriptions to help them, they're not developing the mindset and the decision-making power that when those prescriptions end, they will continue to live that same kind of lifestyle because what they're doing now is they're using that as a crutch instead of a solution or a catalyst to getting to the solution. And so I highly encourage people, if you need it, great, start with it, but create something that will last without it because you never know what could happen in the long term.
I love it because you talked about mindset, and without mindset, we can't fix anything in life. So everything starts with the mindset, especially
And
with the weight loss. It's a long journey. It's not a quick fix for a season, as you have said, and that's why I call the show Wellness All Seasons. Is how to keep a healthy lifestyle during our lives without struggling from season to season. And yes, I agree with you because weight loss is a journey, and we can't do it once and forget it. It's
and
a
I
daily
will
work.
And I'll remind people that your life and your fitness will be a season. Like right now, I'm in a season where I had a lot of changes. We sold our home. I walked away from a big corporate career. We started a new business. You know, we moved our family into a 42-foot travel trailer to cruise around and be nomadic. And so my focus was not as
Amazing.
much on, thank you. My focus was not as much on my nutrition and my fitness. So guess what? We were convenience eating. I wasn't going and putting in the same sort of effort in the gym. And so physically, yeah, I've put on a couple of pounds and I can start to feel it. But what I've developed is a boundary, is
Mm,
I know that at a certain point, when I start feeling a certain way, I have to make different decisions. And I've trained myself to build that willpower to say, you know what? You're too far off into the lane. You're going to end up in a ditch. Now
mm,
we got to put some boundaries in place and we have to have some hard rules because your free will led you into a position where you weren't making the right decisions. And so now that season is shifting into saying, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to sacrifice time in some certain specific areas so that I can be more dedicated to the fitness and the nutrition because I want to stay within my version of happiness. And it's not just going to be like consistently eating chicken and rice every day because that's boring. I love tacos and margaritas. I like going to the places with my wife and eating a nice meal and having the ambiance, that quality time together. But
mm.
I also recognize that too long in that season puts you in a position that's not going to get you where you want in life. So, whatever season you're in, stop, assess, feel for where you're at, and start looking for where you're trying to go. Because I promise you that it's just those little boundaries that you put in place, those little barriers that you put up that help you get there faster.
It's great because you are running your business. You have only one kid.
Just one young man, a little
Yeah.
8-year-old boy.
So you have a family and you get to stay in shape to run your business, to be with to play with your kids and to enjoy your time with your wife and in family. Uh, is it difficult to organize yourself to deal with all these things and to continue to have this energy, this mindset, and this body shape?
I'll say it's simple, but it's not easy.
No.
And the reason I say that is because I like to keep things basic. And so to me, I look at time. If time is the one resource that I know is the most important, so that's what I focus on. And first and foremost, you have to know what is your time worth?
Mm,
Because if you're going to be using it as an investment, what's it worth? What's $1 worth? What is, €1 worth? There's a value exchange there. So now we have to know what is our time worth.
mm,
And you can figure that out. Take all the money you made last year, divide it by 2,000. If you were an average worker, which if you're here, you're not average because you're going above and beyond to learn and to grow. And Mina, shout out to you for creating this content to help people. That's amazing
thank you.
because you're not average. You're extraordinary by going extra to help these people. And so take all the money you made last year and add it up. If you made $100,000 and you worked 2,000 hours, your time is worth $50 an hour.
Mm,
To some people, that might be amazing. To some people, they might go, I don't know.
mm,
I know that if I put on a black cape and a hood and I knocked on your door and I said, hey, you have 24 hours left to live. Here's $50. Please come with me for the next hour. You're probably going to have a certain response. Mina, would you agree?
certainly, yeah.
You're probably not going to want to you're like, I'm not giving you an hour. Like, no, my last 24 hours is very, very important to me. And
Mm,
we agree on that.
yeah.
But what we don't agree on is how people spend their time.
Mm,
Because if they think they have an unlimited amount of it, they spend it recklessly. And you and I, Mina, both know that time is the one thing we're not guaranteed. So
exactly.
I start looking at, okay, for me to live the life that I want to live, there are a few areas of life that are really important. Number one is sleep, because
Yeah.
if you've ever been on a bender for more than 48 hours, you know that it's not a good look. And ladies, if you're listening to this, you recognize you have to get your beauty sleep, right? If you don't get enough sleep, it's not good for anybody. So let's put sleep at the top of the list. And then we have our families, our relationships, right? The things in our life that matter. Because not everybody loves family and family's kind of taboo. So maybe it's your relationships, right? But you put those at the list because you're doing everything for all these people. We're
Mm,
selfless. Then we have our business because most of us don't have FU money yet. Like we still have to work. We can't just do whatever we want whenever we want. So like business is in there. It's important. And like I mentioned earlier, you put yourself last. And so if there's 4 areas of life that are really important, just simplify it, and there's 24 hours in a day, how are we going to live a balanced life?
Mm,
Well, 24 divided by 4 is 6. So if I spend 6 hours in each of those areas every day, ultimately I'm balanced, right? Which is kind of a weird term because no one wants to be zero, but a balance scale is zero. But let's just digress. Okay, cool. I know I've got 6 hours to focus on my business. I've got 6 hours to focus on me and what I want.
mm.
And then I've got 6 hours to spend with my family and the relationships that matter. Mina, have you ever spent 6 hours on something that you really enjoy doing?
Yes, of course.
It's amazing and it
Yeah.
goes really fast and you can do a lot of things in 6 hours.
Mm,
And so my challenge is if you are listening to this and you went into every day thinking, cool, I'm going to spend 6 hours sleeping. I'm going to spend 6 hours on me. I'm going to spend 6 hours on my business and I'm going to spend 6 hours on my family. No one could argue that you're giving more time to any one thing or the other.
mm,
And ultimately, if you were intentional with the time you were spending every day, you'd be getting a better result. The difference is people aren't being intentional. So
mm.
the thing I would encourage you to do now that you're aware of this, because you don't know what you don't know until you know, but now
Exactly.
you know. So go and do an audit of your time. What are you doing all day? Every hour, make a note in your phones like, hey, I watched YouTube, I did some laundry, I made a couple sales calls, I took a nap. Where are you spending slash where are you investing your time? Because if you want to get a return on that investment, where you spend your time is going to be the answer.
Certainly. Uh, what are the healthy tips that you follow with your schedule now, with your business, family? You are doing a lot of things. What are the healthy tips that you follow every day to keep going without, of course, we don't have time to go to the gym or to do um, some
I live
training.
and die by the calendar. So if I put it on the calendar, it's important. Mina, you and I were talking about this. Like I had this call and then I have another call scheduled with you right after because we weren't sure which calendar was which. And so
Yeah,
I know that it's 11:07 my time. I've got 23 more minutes to be here with you according to the calendar. So my healthy tip is if you want something, put it on the calendar and let your calendar be your boss. The first thing
mm,
I do every day is I wake up, I reach over, I grab my wife, and if I happen to be traveling and she's not there, I pick up my phone and I message her and I say, hey, I'm so grateful that you and I are still here. Because if I can focus on gratitude first every single day,
mm,
no matter what happens the rest of the day, I can always fall back on that. Hey, I still have a beautiful wife. And even though at one point she gave me her wedding ring back and said that she was done, we're still together. How
amazing.
great is that?
Yeah, it's
And then,
amazing.
right, I look out, it's like, oh, my son's in the other room sleeping peacefully. How amazing that I've been blessed to have
Yeah.
this beautiful son and the example to be that I am. Right. And so gratitude is that thing that I focus on first.
Mm,
And then I grab a big glass of water because you know what we're really bad about doing, y'all? Staying hydrated. And
yeah,
coffee, tea, soda, energy drinks, that is not hydrating, that is
mm,
dehydrating you. And so I'd like to drink a big glass of water first thing in the morning. And then, like I said, I do my workout first.
mm,
And when I say I do my workout, it is not always killing myself. I'm not having to go to
yeah,
the gym. I'm not having to run a marathon. It is, am I moving my body with intention
mm,
for a period of time? Like this morning, I woke up, I walked around the block, I took the dog for a short walk, and I did 20 minutes of yoga because I
amazing.
just wanted to get a good stretch. But you know what? I still consider that a workout because I'm being
Exactly.
intentional.
Of
And that's
course.
the thing that you have to think about. And that's my biggest tip for anyone is be intentional.
I love it. And the other thing that I want you to talk about, because I wanted to know more about it when I did the research about you, and I found the Mimi Lord and
The meme Lord Knuckles.
yeah, beautiful. I love it. So, if you wanted to tell us about it, and yes, and tell. about what you are doing now, how people can benefit from what you are doing, etc. Because we focused on weight loss experience, because I know that as women, there are a lot of women struggle with this. Not only women, men and women. And I
Men too,
wanted
for
to
sure.
bring you to share your experience as a man, and also to know more about your other experience, the Mimi Lord, and
Well, thank you, Mina. Again, I'm
yeah.
really grateful for the opportunity to share some of my journey, and ultimately, that's where it all stems from. You know, the meme lord tattoo, the memes that I share, they're all about creating a connection,
Mm,
because you and I both know that emotion leads to motion. And so if I can get someone's attention, create a level of relatability to say, hey, you and I, we're similar. We're not the same. Everyone's unique. They have their own story, right? I encourage you to believe in that and also recognize that a lot of us go through a lot of very similar things in life. And so sharing that connection, creating silly memes that get attention and help you laugh and feel like, you know what, this guy gets it,
mm,
that's important to me, because my mission with Call the Damn Leads, with everything that we're building in our business, is to encourage you to do the things you know you need to do to live the life that you want to live. Doesn't matter what I think. What I think is that you should be doing the thing to go and live the life that you want, because success is a perspective. My version of success is very different than yours, Mina. However, there are certain parts of it that we agree on. Hey, we love the idea that we can go and share our value with the world, and that brings us a feeling of success. Awesome. Let's collaborate on that. Let's work together on it, because that mindset will help us through these different seasons. And at certain points on the journey, I like to go out and help people, because in my own season, I'm in a rebuild. I'm regrowing. I went and I worked with a company. We went from, 3 employees to 70 while I was there. We
oh,
helped
amazing.
thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs and business owners take the journey. Now I'm on my own journey. And so my whole thing is, how can I get in front of someone, help them feel like this is someone that I can know, like, and you know what? I kind of trust them based on the fact that they're sharing very transparently
Mm,
what they've been through and that they've gotten the result. And if I'm someone who's in a position where I'm not getting the result that I want, and I can relate to this individual, and I kind of think, well, maybe if I just do the thing that they did, I'll get a similar result.
mm,
That's what happens. And that's really what Call the Damn Leads is all about. If you're a sales professional, an entrepreneur, someone that wants to take that journey because you do feel stuck in your current job or your situation,
mm.
reach out to me. Come and find us on callthedamnleads.com. If you Google Call the Damn Leads, we're on every single social media platform, because again, it's not about what I want, it's about helping you get what you want. Because if I do that enough times, as Zig Ziglar said, if you help enough people get what you want, eventually you'll get what you want. And that's really what Call the Damn Leads is all about. That's why the meme lord exists. Because if I can help you feel comfortable making that decision to take action, then I'm doing my job.
Yeah, and you are a podcast host, and it's available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify,
Yep,
and everywhere. So people can
absolutely.
join. Thank you so much. It was amazing to have you to share your story, and I love it because you bring a new vision to women to think that nothing is easy, but everything is possible.
That's right. And again, I just want to say thank you for the time and the
You are
opportunity.
welcome.
And if someone did listen to this show and they got value out of it, the one favor that I would ask, share this show with someone who could also get value out of it, and make sure you tag Mina. Make sure you tag us. Let people know that you listen to this show specifically, so that they can listen in, because if we help one person, we know it's a trickle effect. And so, Mina, thank you for the opportunity to share my story. And to the listener, if you enjoyed it, make sure you go share it with someone else, because that's how we keep growing and getting better.
You are welcome. And you have an amazing show, because I was listening to your last episode, and it's so interesting. I will finish it and listen to others. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mina. Have a great day.
You are welcome. I hope that you have enjoyed this conversation. If you like it, please share it and subscribe so that you don't miss the upcoming episodes.